Hey everybody, it's DERK91, and today I'm finally getting away from Halo, but of course not too far. I'm gonna do the Destiny beta today. Now, came out on the 22nd in the evening, and it was supposed to be out on the 23rd, but one of my buddies was just like, hey, if you go ahead and put the code in, it actually works to where you can download it. It took me 3 hours to download the beta. 3 hours. But you know, it was time well spent. It's just it was so nice. I downloaded it, went to bed, and then got up that morning, started up, created my first character, which was a Titan, and I instantly fell in love with the game. I mean, the story seems really nice, seems really good. Some of the acting in it, I don't know, but it's a beautiful game. It sounds incredibly, like, the music is just so good, the sound effects are so good. I mean, it's it's awesome. It's really the only word you can use to describe it. Is it's just awesome. And it's just beautiful. It's Bungie. I mean, it's Bungie. A lot of people were mad that, when Bungie finally got away from Halo, that they went multi-platform and people on the PlayStation got access to the beta before people on the Xbox. So they were saying, you betrayed your original fan, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, come on, people, you still get to play the game. And they got access to an earlier version of the game, so we probably got a better version. But, cutting away from that, get back to this. So you got three classes you can play as. You got your Titan, which is a tank. You can take a bunch of damage and dish it out. You've got an awesome melee. Your special melee is that, like, thunder punch. I just kept shouting that into my mic every time I went to punch something and I had that charged up. I was just like, thunder punch. It's like Storm Fist or something like that. But you can do so much damage with this guy because his melees are very strong. Because that's how the character's made. His supercharge is the was it Fist of Havoc, I think it's called. It's this little right here, this ground pound. It has a tremendous AoE. It has so much power behind it. I mean, it just destroys everything, does so much damage. And it's just so beautiful. Next up is the Hunter. Now this one is a good close quarters range player because, I mean, you get a rifle for your special weapon. The very first mission, whenever you get the special weapon, you get a sniper rifle. His special is that golden gun. You'll see it here in just a second. But your melee is a knife stab. Your special is a knife throw. I don't like the knife throw, but he's just a very strong character. He really is. I mean, the golden gun especially, because you can one-hit anything on your level other than bosses, and anything that's up to twice your level, you can two-shot with that thing. I mean, which is really impressive that he's got that much power. And then next up is the Warlock. Now, the Warlock can't really take much damage, but is another one of those well-rounded characters, one of those well-rounded classes. Now, you can do all sorts of damage with all three of these. I mean, they're all really good all around. Each one, really, it's just there's no difference really in how they play much other than the Hunter, because the Hunter's supercharge is that golden gun, which requires firing, as where the other two really are just mainly, it's kind of like an AoE. With the Warlocks, it's that, like, void toss right there, which is mainly focused on one small area, but it does have a little small AoE, so you can take out a large group that's like huddled together in a small space. You can take them out really easily, real quick. But it doesn't have a very large AoE, kind of like how the Titan does. The Titan has a huge AoE, and I love that because you can just run into a huge pile of enemies, just run in, guns blazing, and then just smash down, destroy everything, and anything that's left, just punch it to death. It's just so much fun. It had so much going for it. I just couldn't stop playing. I wish the beta was still up right now, because I'd still be playing it. This video would have never gotten made if the beta was still out. I wouldn't be able to stop. I mean, it was so good. You just wanted to keep going. The only thing I didn't do in the game, in the beta, was I didn't play the Crucible because I'm really not interested in player versus player, especially in a game like this. And from what I heard, it was horrible anyway because everybody just said, well, if you didn't use a sniper, you're just going to get shot and killed by people using snipers constantly. Which, I mean, they focused more on the campaign and story gameplay and the multiplayer in that aspect, and I'd say they probably didn't focus much on the multiplayer for this one as far as like player versus player. But it was so much fun. I mean, there was so much stuff you could do. You could buy skiff runner skins, you know, like your little rides. You could buy spaceship. You could buy different ones. I mean, because like this one right here, that's not your basic one you get. I mean, I really liked the way this one looked because it was just so nicely shaped, and it had that gray camo skin on it, and I was just, yeah, that'll work for me. I was just like, yeah, money well spent on that one. That is one problem it did have. Speaking of money, Glimmer was the currency, and it was so hard to come by. Honestly, you would have to grind out in the exploration zone out in old Russia, right there. You would have to spend like forever out in that area, just like doing random missions where you see these little beacons on the ground that are flashing green light. You would have to accept that mission to go complete it. Most of the time, you get a little bit of glimmer in the process of doing that, and then if you did public events, you got glimmer for completing those. And usually about 100, 200, but that's still not a whole lot for really what the game required to buy everything. I mean, it was just a lot of that stuff was extremely expensive. So maybe if they increased your glimmer acquisition or decreased the price of everything, it would help balance that part out. But it still seemed like it was just too hard. You just couldn't get money as much as you really needed it. Another thing was your ammo count seemed really low, especially whenever you were using your special weapon. Now, I understand keeping a low ammo count on special weapon and heavy weapons, so that way the player, is not overpowered just because they've got good weaponry. But when I have a shotgun and I'm like, okay, I know this little section I'm going to need a sniper, so I'm going to switch out real quick. And then you have no ammo for your special weapon because all that ammo was in your shotgun. But if you switch back to your shotgun, all your ammo's still gone. Now, I don't know if they designed it to be like that, so that way you'd have to scavenge for your ammo or whatever. But to me, that's not a good game mechanic right there. Constantly having to scavenge for ammo for your really good gun, because I mean, yeah, it's stronger and all that, but having to constantly scavenge for ammunition for a specialty gun that has low ammunition to begin with, that's not cool. But other than that, that was really the only core gameplay issue that I really had the entire time I was playing. It seemed like sometimes the melee didn't really work like it was supposed to as far as like damage it should have dealt, but for the most part, it was still pretty nice. Another issue was voice communication between players. Me and my buddy Grunt, we could not hear each other ever unless we were in a party. And another issue that the beta had was most of the time if you unsnap the party, you could not hear anyone. You had to have the party snapped while you talked most of the time. On occasion you got lucky and it worked. But it was just such a good fun experience, and I cannot wait until the game comes out on September 9th. Early birthday present for me. Yay. Just really excited for it, and yeah, gonna have some serious fun with this when it comes out. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another Titan. I know it's the very first thing I'm gonna do. Then probably a Warlock, and then maybe a Hunter. But I'll definitely be rolling Titan. It's gonna be a fun ride when it comes around. But that's pretty much it. Guess I'll see you guys Starside when it comes out on September 9th. You guys have a good one. See ya.